Hello to you. My name is Maria Kądzielska, and this is Poland Daily Culture. Have you ever heard about Tamara Łempicka? I do hope you have. And with me in the studio is Grzegorz Musiał, the author of this biographical novel about no one else but this great artist, Tamara Łempicka. Thank you very much for being here with us.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm very glad to be here.
I know that you're professionally a doctor and that you're performing your occupation as a doctor. And in free time, you worked on this novel. And it's very well written, with rich language and with huge amount of information. So my question is, because how did it happen that you fell in love with Tamara Łempicka? Because one needs to be in love in order to write such kind of book.
I remember the day, I remember the year and all circumstances of my first meeting with Tamara Łempicka in my life and my falling in love with her. Exactly as you said, falling in love with her. It was London, summer 1975, and the exhibition of her paintings arrived in London from Paris. Because Tamara Łempicka was rediscovered as a great painter again after decades of total oblivion in 1973. Her first big exhibition after the Second World War in Europe took place in Paris, in Galerie Luxembourg, arranged by a student of fine arts. Him and his group of friends from the Department of Fine Arts in Paris find out that there was someone called Tamara Łempicka back in the 30s. They saw her paintings in the album and they fell in love with her immediately. And they arranged an exhibition for the opening of their own little private gallery, which is now quite famous, Galerie Luxembourg. And this was an explosion of enthusiasm in Europe and throughout the world when she was rediscovered, and Parisians didn't know that they had such treasure, in their history, such a painter, amazing painter. And this exhibition went on to London 3 years later. So I was in this year, 1975, in London. And this was exactly when I was changing trains on the Charing Cross Road station. And I suddenly went out of my Northern Line train. And I went to the tube. As you know, the tube stations in London, it's a long, long tube. And suddenly I'm surrounded with her face. Everywhere her face on the walls. As long as the tube goes ahead of you, you see only her sitting behind this famous driving wheel with those, gloves, yes, and that look of a lady who knows
what she wants.
What she wants, yes, exactly. And there's like hundreds of her faces around me. And I was just standing like this, oh my God, I'm in love with that woman. Who is she? Because I have to emphasize one thing. She was totally forbidden back then in Poland.
Why?
Her name was absolutely erased because she was anti-communist.
I see.
And
so Tamara Łempicka was not known in Poland.
She declared herself as absolutely anti-communist. Secondly, she was also the member of the mostly hated social class ever for the communists, because she belonged to the upper class from the very beginning of her life to the very end of her life, and she
also married the baron.
To it, This was the class which was the number one enemy of the communist system, and she just obviously declared her belonging to that class, her anti-communist attitude absolutely, so they hated her.
I love her because of the figurative element of it, because of the colors and the expressive and the energy which comes from those paintings, and also the fact that we see people of this time. And without the figurative beauty of a human being, I don't only want to see the circles and triangles or just a still nature. I want people on paintings.
Yes, that's exactly from my notes. This is a line which I translated into English from my notes about her. Why she disliked the contemporary art. Because,
so just read it to
yes,
us.
She accused the contemporary art, especially American art, for the lack of the sense of form, due to, paradoxically, the excessive formalistic mania. So like this, the form which is the mania of formality leads to the
lack of meaning.
Lack of form. She was very serious about art, always, as a working person, as a working artist. So she also tried to guess what's the secret of this painting, only with the stains, and she experimented. And those are paintings which she painted in the 1950s, the end of the 50s, which I don't think you would like them. I don't think you would, because she does all those experiments with the formal experiments. Well, this is still Łempicka, but it's not successful. She did paint really nice paintings, experimenting with light, which are sort of impressionistic visions. She hated impressionism, though, but she experimented again, maybe this way, maybe that way. So she tried, and she painted really beautiful paintings of visions of Venice, for example, with this dispersion of light, on the surface of water and air. It's really charming, but there are just a few. Jack Nicholson, who is the absolutely keen, worshipper of her paintings.
Oh, I see.
He collected mostly those paintings, which I'm saying, those impressionistic paintings, which he considered as the best paintings of her.
So, a main question about life of every single person, especially about the artist, is: was Tamara happy in her life?
She, as everything in her life, was ambiguous. She had two persons in her, the one who wanted revolution and the one who surrendered to most aristocratic manners as a lady, whatever. Was she happy? She was happy and unhappy, because she was unhappy, first of all, because she was alone and she was not fulfilled as an artist. Her career, the being on the top, was just 10 years practically, well, 20 years, say, between 1922, 23 and 1940s. When she painted in America, she tried to find her new status as a painter, because her portraits were rejected by the American audience in the 1940s. Nobody was interested in her paintings anymore, like portraits of these upper-class people in Paris in the 20s who cared for them anymore. But she painted still natures, beautiful still natures. She painted vegetables, beautiful vegetables, interiors of the hotel rooms, fantastic pictures, because she turned away from people. She said that American faces do not inspire her. On French Parisian streets, she could read human history from almost every second face. In America, they always smile and keep their cocktails in their hands. That's what she said, And they are happy when they have their cocktails, So this is all what I can read about lives from their faces. So she liked Americans, of course, quite a lot, but she was not serious about them as the possible objects of her paintings. But it meant, the lack of people around her again. And she was in the 1940s, 50s, when she was rejected as an artist. She became a socialite. She was a lady of higher social circles in New York, in Los Angeles, whatever. She met Greta Garbo. She was a friend of this, of that. She knew everybody. She was so rich.
So she knew everybody. She was rich. But was she happy?
She was not happy. Absolutely she wasn't. She was not fulfilled as an artist. She knew she was forgotten, also in Europe. So it was such a surprise for her that she was rediscovered in 1970s, shortly before her death. Suddenly she became famous, but it was too late. Yes. She was already a devastated, emotionally person, because she had very bad relationship with her daughter. Tamara had no time to be a good mother for the daughter. She was even at night she was accused for going to the clubs, and then living a happy life, but it was not true. She went to Louvre to paint at night because she was experimenting with light on different times of a night.
A night meeting in Louvre.
That's why
I would like to
portraits are so lively, because she found the secret of the light on the surface of the human body in different colors. She did experiment hours and hours spent, and she had no time to bring up to make good dinners for the family and then be a good wife.
And then at the very end of her life, she ends in Mexico.
Yes.
And what's about her loneliness there?
That's again the story told to me by Victor Contreras when he sees her sitting on the terrace. And looking ahead of her on the volcano, which is far away, is this silhouette of the volcano of that famous Popocatépetl, and she looks at this volcano and she just motionlessly, and she moves her lips, and he comes closer and he listens that she speaks to herself, alone, alone, alone.
Alone, alone, alone. And just to know that Tamara, at the end of her life, her ashes were put to the volcano. So she is a part of this huge mountain right now, which combines the energy and the ambiguity that she had also in her life. And that is why you have to read the story about Tamara Łempicka. And thank you very much for being with us.